Yeah, I'm James Runde. I'm a videographer editor for PBS Wisconsin now. That's my day job. By night, I turn into the lead singer of the Scratch Offs. Yeah, well, if you're talking to Neil Young or somebody like that, they're gonna tell you that vinyl and analog have a certain fidelity of signal that digital's not gonna be able to replicate. Now, most untrained listeners are gonna be like, well, that's not true, because when I play my, Spotify, I don't hear all these pops and scratches and dust and blah, blah, blah. And that's true, but you do hear a lot of other thinness. There's kind of some digital artifacts to streaming, like lossy, like swirling of the cymbals in the highs and low, in the highs, especially highs. When I say highs, I mean like high frequencies, like, some stuff on Spotify sounds especially awful. But I'm not a snob about it. I think it's just fun. The other reason I like vinyl is that it's just fun to watch stuff spin. Sounds cool, and they're fun to collect. Physical media, they all have a jacket, things are packaged and all that kind of stuff. And then I have to say one thing, the last bit I'll say is that I think analog media, and especially vinyl, is a more emotional medium. I really have no scientific basis at all for saying that, but I have to say that like records that I've listened to on a turntable or on a cassette tape tend to really move me, even if I hear the exact same record on Spotify or on my iPod or something like that. Those albums to a digital format versus to an analog format, I feel like the analog format makes me feel things more. I get more into the music than I do where I'm hearing the song and I'm understanding the song, obviously, when it's digital, but for some reason there's just not that like oomph. And maybe it's because there is more artifacts. It feels more like a miracle every time, the motor doesn't break on a repetition around, so that like the record keeps spinning, it doesn't slow down or anything. Like it's kind of amazing that it actually works and that was the first way to do things. So that's kind of why I like vinyl. Like maybe 10 or 12 years. I got into it in college, when I was in college, and realized I started going to local punk shows and stuff like that, and realized that a lot of bands were putting out their own records on vinyl, and that just seemed really cool to me because it's such a great format, obviously, and I didn't really realize that was possible for local bands to be able to do that kind of stuff. I always thought like, oh, that's something that was like, people don't make vinyl records anymore, but turns out they do. So in that period, I got really jazzed on it and bought a lot of local bands records and kind of tried to beef up my collection. And in the Midwest especially, there's like so many used record bins that you can go hunt through in every thrift store in every small town. So of course my collection kind of stacked up with country hits of the day and classic rock, or at least the best of that kind of stuff, because that's just what's so wildly abundant in Wisconsin. But it's always fun to go to like a different city and see what washes up in their record bins. That's like one of my favorite things, to go to a different part of the country and then look through the record stores, because you get a lot of different tastes. My band kind of came together because I have always written songs on the acoustic guitar. Initially those songs went to a band called The Smells, and then when that band broke up, I formed the Scratch Offs, which is my current band. And so basically all the songs that I write, I put into that band, at least right now. And they're kind of, a lot of the songs are about lost love or some Midwestern theme. I try to keep things local so that if you're from this area, it might register a little bit more and be a little bit more special than something, that you just hear on Spotify that was produced in LA or New York or something like that. So we try and keep it local. We try and do it ourselves. At least for the Scratch Offs, all our stuff is recorded on analog, and we wanted to deliver it to analog too. So it was recorded actually on a cassette tape. That was its tracking medium. Honestly, I thought that was just going to be a demo tape, but then my friend Clark, who in Chicago was interested in opening up a vinyl record label, and he kind of was instrumental in telling us to get it pressed up, and he foot the bill, to be honest with you. And his record label is called Idle Hawk Records, and he only has us right now, but he's going to pick up some other bands, hopefully, and So really it was just by sheer happenstance that we got that record on vinyl. It kind of like blew my mind, and it made all my dreams come true, because for a long time I was like, oh, if I could just get a record with my name on the back. And now that I have one, I'm like, it's not good enough. I want another one. Yeah, so the radio show is new this semester. That's not a completely true statement. It's new in terms of being all vinyl. I used to have a different radio show way back when I was in college. So that was like 2011 to 2015. I had a radio show on WSUM. I'm doing it again to try and, I just turned 30 and I'm trying to stay relevant with the youth. And I never had an all vinyl show, so I thought, well, it'd be cool to like put my money where my mouth is and actually try and jockey some discs and, do it old school. So, and also to secretly keep my band relevant with the kids. So for all those reasons, I decided to return to the booth this semester. So really the show's only, about a month and a half in, but I hope to do it again next semester. And it's basically, the show is called House of Wax. I go by the Vinyl Villain, and I play all vinyl records that are based around a theme that I choose a different theme each week. So this week's was Wisconsin, local Wisconsin punk bands. That's probably why I'm especially talking about that in this interview right now, but like past themes have been trains and rain and family, and I think I even had one on food. But yeah, maybe I'll do one on death, stuff like that. So these are some of the ones I played this week. This is Julia Blair. She's a solo artist, but she also plays with this band Dusk, and also probably other bands that I'm unaware of, but she's super talented. And this is kind of the crew of Dusk. These are the Appleton Cats that, if you go up to Appleton and you're curious about the Appleton music scene, you're probably gonna run into one of these people, and Julia Blair is one of those people. Catholic Boys are kind of from the same region. They played Appleton a lot, apparently, back in the day. This is kind of before my time. So what year did this come out? Probably doesn't even say, it doesn't say on it. But probably like 2005 or something like that. But this is Green Bay, I'm pretty sure. But it was released on a Milwaukee label. And these guys are kind of like legendary Wisconsin, like goth punk weirdos. I don't know if you can see this, but they got like face paint and stuff, they're freaks. And then this is it's a reissue. I wish this was an original, but it is an actual touch and go reissue, but this is 12 Point Buck, which is the record that made Kurt Cobain wanna record in Madison, Wisconsin. He recorded at this really crappy looking building, which now has a bunch of graffiti on it, on East Wash and Baldwin, called Smart Studios. That's, famously where Butch Vig got his start. Butch Vig recorded this record. So this record is why Kurt Cobain recorded Nevermind in Wisconsin, or at least the Nevermind demos, and hooked up with Butch Vig. And without that, we would not have Smells Like Teen Spirit, or at least it wouldn't sound like it does. Without this record. And then these two are just kind of more recent local fare. This one is from when I was in college. It's the Vipers, Made in the Shade, and Excitement. It's a great song, Excitement, where he just spells the word excitement over and over again. And then this is Heather the Jerk. Actually, this just came out really, really recently, like maybe this year. It's cable access TV. It's her first I think she calls this a full length. You're actually supposed to play it on 45, but it's a 12-inch record. So it's a little short for a full length, but we'll give it the LP credit. So Heather the Jerk, cable access TV. She was in The Hussy, and Proud Parents, and Cool Building, and a lot of other bands. She was in a band with Jane Weedland from the Go-Go's, famously too. Kids probably don't know who that is, but that's a legendary group from the 80s. Anyway, so Heather the Jerk is still around, and she's awesome. She's probably the best pop songwriter in Madison. She has so many hits. I want to just make a playlist of only Heather songs from all her different bands. Honey Slides. She has so many. She's just full of songs. It's amazing, like really humbling. So if you don't know who Heather the Jerk is or don't know any of those bands I just mentioned, definitely recommend checking her out.